Good morning. Box number 5. Uh, let's see. Which one do I want to get the day started with? It's first thing in the morning. Just gonna recap last night before I went to bed. Talked about this one. Box number 5. We got this one. This one. La voila. Oh, almost dropped it. And we also have Padua and the Tudors. So we're going to go through Padua and Tudors since it's in my hand. So let's see what's interesting about here. What's in here? The English nation at Padua. Students of law, students of medicine, natural philosophy. Let's go see what they're talking about. 73. Okay. They left Oxford in 1503 to study medicine in Padua. The anonymous registrar of Merton College noted that Padua was the most famous university for humane studies. Was going to devote himself to the works of the percentage for much of the 14th century. Padua medicine and natural philosophy would extend influence on English Humanist studies and astrology. I don't know how to pronounce this word. Maybe you. That one. Right there. Has been recognized only in the most fragmented of ways, despite the examples. So, wherever Padua is, right? Padua, I gotta look on a map because it was part of the English colonies, I'm guessing, because the English experience it. And they're talking about the students of medicine and natural philosophy. The 16th century Padua studium was renowned above all for its medicine, and before the end of the 15th century had begun to absorb the movement in the field pioneered by Niccolò Leoniceno in Ferrara, and now usually described as medical humanism. Medical humanism was primarily an attempt to reconstruct the original words of the ancient Greek medical sources, especially of Hippocrates and his interpreter Galen, and of the chief source of ancient natural philosophy, Aristotle, to make their writings available in Greek and the new Latin translations. The medical students as the essential steps towards a reformed and academically moderated medical practice, and to challenge the position in academic medicine how to better amenable Arabic interpreters of the Greek tradition. All right, this is actually pretty interesting. Because of the therapeutic importance of the medical samples in ancient medicine, and because of Galen's emphasis, hold on. Let me just, instead of just trying to read it all to you, because I'm kind of reading out loud, not. So you're kind of like, what, Eric? Wait, what? So what I'm gathering through here is these people in the 1500s in Padua, they went there and they started, like, they did their studies, and then, like, this is the 1500s. So when they're talking to medieval, which, it's, what, 200, 300 years before that? It doesn't seem like it was a lot of years. I'm only 36, so 300 years is a lot. So I guess the medieval times, because it could all the way be back into, like, 1100s. So what he's saying is the medicine, like the Greeks, we got to remember the Greeks were BC. So in the the position in academic medicine held by medieval Arabic interpreters of Greek tradition. So what he's saying is, right then, around the 1500s, when they went to this place called Padua, or whatever it's called, at that point in time, the trend, like the Greeks and the ancient medicine was interpreted through the Arabics, right? So they wanted to translate it basically towards English and be it more of the Crusaders or whatever, Jesus. And so that's what they set out to kind of do on that part. I gotta read some more. It's pretty interesting. It goes on for quite a few pages. I mean, it talks about all the way into the 1600s, so it talks 100 years of what happens down there. Let's see if we can find anything. A little excerpt. All right, here we go. Talking about Greeks and everything. Henry Cuffe is one such student from around Harvey's time, a pupil and colleague of Henry Savile's in Oxford in the late 1570s and 1580s. Cuffe had been appointed Regius Professor of Greek in 1590, later became a client of the Earl of Essex, and was implicated in his rebellion. Okay. Like a significant number of other members of the Essex circle, Cuffe matriculated at Padua in 1597. In 1600, he wrote a work of natural philosophy, which was printed post-mortemly in 1507. As the differences of the ages of man, it is impossible to establish a precise relationship between the philosophically eccentric or aesthetic work, which draws on Plato, Aristotle, Galen, and the Hermetic writers. Oh man, I can't pronounce these words. Averroes, Avicenna, Paracelsus, and Ficino, and Cuffe's studies in Padua, but the relationship itself is surely embedded in the work. Okay, let's just skip to where I thought it would. See, sometimes I had the whole paragraph. I didn't need to read the paragraph. I'm trying to get to where it was at the bottom. But see, long discussions in the world and the mortality of man. See, when you're reading in your head all the words you can't pronounce, it doesn't matter. You just skip over it. Conditions, because half the time if you can tell it's a name, it's a name. If it, right, so I mean, there's when you're reading in your mind, who cares if you can pronounce a name, right? It doesn't matter. Or even like philosophical. If you see the word a million times, you can look it up one time. It doesn't matter if you can pronounce it. You just look at it and you know what it means. It's not very important. It probably is very important, but it's not for. I gotta read the whole chapter, right? I try to. There's a lot. It's talking about the Greeks and everything, but I'm trying to like snap some out. But this is he's long winded, so it's not like today where it's like boom and it hits you with like information where it's really easy. This is like you got to read the whole bloody 30 pages for you to be able to explain what's going on, right? Because they're doing it in a story based, kind of like all these are kind of story bases, so it's kind of difficult. Yeah, this is gonna be poses more of a challenge to just pick up and kind of get it out, because then you don't want to watch me read. But it's already. Let me see one thing. What is Padua? Right. The University of Padua was one of Europe's great centers of learning in the pre-modern period. Located in northeast Italy, about 20 miles from Venice, Padua Stadium was officially founded in 1222 as a result of a student migration to the University of Bologna. In the course of the following century, it came to be recognized as a Universitas Scholarum. That is, a self-governing legal corporation of scholars protected by Padua's civil authorities. From 1260, its statues were confined, and from 1264, its chancellor, who was always the Bishop of Padua, conferred academic degrees by the Pope's sanction. Before the period dealt with this in his study, the stadium had already succeeded in attracting many important intellectual figures, including a number of the early humanists, the pioneers of the Renaissance classical revival. In the 14th century, these numbered in poet. So the Padua helps to read the introduction, right? So it's northwest or northeast Italy. It's been around since the medieval time, like I said, the 1200s, which makes sense because we were in the 1500s in the medicine and everything. He was talking in the medieval time. Yeah, what I'll also do is I'll kind of give a history of everything because the it's only 7 pages, but I'm already over 10 minutes. So, a place of knowledge and study. And so again, read, build your own library, and you can have your own Padua, right?